even though Kim decided to part ways with Pete because of his worst qualities, it doesn't mean she never loved him for his best ones. Even though they are no longer together, nobody can deny that Kim and Pete had great chemistry and shared a deep bond with each other. The breakup doesn't change the fact that they are still on good terms, and that's because there are so many things in Pete that Kim adores. But like all humans, Pete has flaws too, and it was his worst characteristics that led Kim to split up with him. What were the best and the worst things that Kim saw in Pete? Stick around till the end as we take you through this whirlwind of a relationship and reveal more. All good things must come to an end, but that doesn't mean we can't look back and reminisce the great times we shared with someone, as Kim must now do with Pete because there was so much to love about him. We all know Kim fell for Pete because of his personality, which is one of his best qualities. This is how Kim explained the moment she fell for Pete. So this is how it went down with me and Pete. I did Saturday Night Live
and we kissed in scene. It was just a vibe, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I just need to try something different. Pete does not come to my after party. Everyone was at my after party. Does not give me the time of day.
Kim explained to the cameras. The Californian native admitted that she was the one to make the first move. So according to Kim, Pete had this aura about him that attracted Kim to her in the first place, making her fall for him. This is definitely one of the things she found amazing about him. But as things got serious, even more details got revealed, which shed light on some of the best features of Pete.
Pete has got to be literally the best human being I've ever met. Like the best heart. People always say like, oh, he's so funny, and it's like has to do with how funny he is. That's like fourth on my list of why I like him. Always wants the best for people, can handle anything, always does it with grace. Like he's really, really thoughtful and humble and just so genuine. I would say the perfect word to describe Pete is genuine.
Kim has literally listed all the best things about Pete. His ability to see the best in people despite everything, his calm and graceful demeanor under pressure when he has to handle tough situations, and his extremely high emotional quotient, which allows him to be empathetic and thoughtful, his humor and quality to bring happiness into the saddest, most mundane moments, and most of all, him being a sincere, honest, and humble gentleman. That list really paints Pete out to be an angel. But this isn't where Pete's best things end. Oh no, for Kim, the most fulfilling part of her new romance was getting to have normal moments with Pete.
But I never knew you can just be so happy.
Aww.
Watching TV series and going to the gym.
I never knew that you could just be so happy watching a TV series and going to the gym. From someone that I never thought would even go to the gym or has been to the gym before. She told her sisters,
I actually don't care if I go out like this and have no makeup on. Like, it's the most refreshing feeling to not feel like, oh my God, like you don't have to be perfect at all times. I had this big pimple on my nose and I kept on complaining about this pimple. And like one thing that we like seriously have in common is like we're obsessed with like skincare and dermatologists and like literally beauty products. And I fell asleep at 8:30. I was so tired and I woke up in the morning with dried pimple medicine on my nose. And like he put it on for me in my sleep because he knew.
So cute.
He knew that I really needed it to go away. And I was like, ah.
Pete sounds like the kind of man who would make even the most boring daily tasks fun by just being himself. This adds to the huge list of his best traits. Moreover, the fact that he is into self-care and dermatology not only for himself but for the sake of his partner is amazing. He is so aware of his surroundings and picks up on the tiny emotional cues to be there for his partner in the way they want him to be there. Just when you thought Pete couldn't get any better, it turns out that he is amazing in bed as well. In an interview, Kim exposed how Pete turns her on, saying,
one time Pete was like, babe, let's go get some ice cream at Thrifty. And I was like, oh my God, you are making me so horny. Rite Aid? Thrifty?
She also mentioned in another interview how she was having the best sex of her life with Pete. So it wasn't just Pete's physical features that attracted Kim, it was his small gestures and the emotional chemistry they shared. But sadly for Pete, if he were that perfect, he and Kim would still be together for him. Where he has this great side to his personality, he also has a bad one. And this side of his has also been highlighted by Kim directly and indirectly. One of the worst things about Pete that Kim will never mention publicly, but is still true, is the fact that he is extremely sensitive and doesn't have the ability to deal with bullying. This came to the surface particularly when Kanye started a smear campaign against the comedian that landed him in trauma therapy. Sometimes you just need your partner to be strong. You can also not ignore the fact that there was well over a decade of age difference between Kim and Pete, which meant that they weren't always that compatible and she couldn't relate with him on many things. This also became one of the biggest reasons for their breakup. Linked to this vice of Pete's is another closely related related one, his immaturity. Call it his young age or his comedian genes, but Pete could get annoyingly immature at times, failing to grasp situations and turning everything into a joke. For a woman well in her 40s who was looking for someone stable and dependable, this was surely one of Pete's worst things. Pete also had a very different outlook on life. He wanted different things than Kim, whose main priority was her kids. Pete, on the other hand, was more focused on building his career and was not at all ready to take on the burden of raising kids that weren't even his own in the first place. This lack of daddy skills was genuinely looked down upon by Kim, who must have found this to be one of his worst traits because it led to Kanye trying to steer Kim's kids away from her. An insider said, as per page 6, when Kim is with someone else, Kanye can cause problems with the kids. He tries to divide and conquer. He can't help it. But on top of everything else, the worst thing that Kim found about Pete was the reason they decided to split up. Pete is currently shooting a movie in Australia while Kim is handling her myriad responsibilities on the other side of the world. Since they weren't always together, Pete reportedly usually wanted Kim to fly to his location at a moment's notice, which was rarely feasible for the busy mother. Because Pete couldn't grasp the situation Kim was in as a mother and couldn't compromise to be with her and support her in person, it was inevitable that Kim left him. One of the worst things that a person can have is not being there physically for their partner when they need them the most. And for the past few weeks, despite all possible efforts to sustain a long-distance relationship, Pete just wasn't present. In short, Pete was an immature, overly sensitive guy who had different dreams and ambitions and wanted different things in life, wasn't as committed to Kim's kids, and did not make enough of an effort to be around her and there for her when she needed him. He could also not cope with Kanye or fight the battles he needed to fight in order to protect his relationship from him. All of these were Pete's worst things, and these ultimately became the reason why Kim decided to leave. Do you think